Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About Houses. I'm Todd.
I'm Juana.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about a Zillow report that came out. It says a divided housing market. Zillow says these 294 markets to see home price gains, while these 102 markets tick lower. So we're gonna show a chart. We're going to talk about a bunch of data. When it says divided housing market, what was the first thing that you thought of? Like, why is housing market divided? Like, what's going on? Is it Game of Thrones or what?
Well, I think that they're trolling everybody who's talking about the country being divided.
Okay, that's
I think
true.
They're just trolling politics.
Do you think it's clickbaity?
Yes, I think it's very clickbaity.
It's funny because they said 294 markets to see home price gains, while 102 markets tick lower. That sounds like electoral college math.
Yeah, exactly, which is what I said. The whole thing sounded very political, even though it's not.
Okay, but there is a difference. Like, some markets are doing better than others. And why? So what's going on?
Well,
Because when we start talking about these things, it'll be more clear.
Okay, so some markets always do better than others, and not necessarily at the same time. So, for example, we've done this before where we put up the appreciation maps here, and we've shown like one zip code is up 20%, and the zip code right next to it is down 15%, and the zip code right next to that is up 35%, and so on. Look.
It doesn't mean that every house in that zip code went down 15%.
No. And so, look, we know that real estate is about location, 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 right?
Just those three? If there was four, what would the fourth one be?
Product. Yes.
Okay, I agree with that. Okay, here's the next quote from the article. Among the 400 largest regional housing markets tracked by Zillow, 182 remain below their 2022 peak price. Now remember, this is a brand new article, so this is accurate information. 218 are back or above their 22 peak price. Now, a lot of people would have expected this can't be right because housing's crashing, it's lower everywhere, but nationally, home prices are up year over year, 3.3%. We did a video a little while ago where we showed a bunch of markets where home prices are up. So it makes sense that you would have 218 markets, which is greater than 182 where home prices are up, and you have 182 where they're worse.
Right. Yeah, it's
and the aggregate is 3.3%. Doesn't mean everybody's home is worth 3.3% more.
Yeah, I actually looked at the appreciation map that came out today for Vegas for the different sectors, and it was kind of the same thing. Some were really high, some were up, some were down, some were up a lot, some were down a lot, some were down little, some were down a lot, some were at break even. It kind of like the country it was very reminiscent of these numbers, so it was very interesting.
Okay, we've got a very cool chart to put up here in a second, but I'm going to read these last two paragraphs.
Okay.
And then we'll put the chart up. We'll talk about the chart. Okay, it says between March 2023 and March 2024. That's the next year. Zillow expects some of the biggest home price upticks to occur in markets like Knoxville, Tennessee, Savannah, Georgia, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Jackson City, Tennessee, Wilmington, North Carolina. Simply put, Zillow's forecast model expects a great deal of strength in the U.S. Southeast. What's big in the Southeast right now?
Manufacturing.
Manufacturing is huge. There's like a ton of manufacturing, new companies. There's new industries that are coming back to the U.S. They're not making sweaters. They're making technical, high-tech stuff. eVTOLs, right? Like manufacturers come back to the U.S. in a very interesting way. And it's in the South. Why is it in the South?
So that's a good question. Primarily because of the price of real estate.
Okay. It's cheaper to live in the South.
It's cheaper to live in the South. It's cheaper to build in the South. So because it's cheaper to live and build in the South, that also means that wages are more affordable in the South because the cost of living is lower in the South. So it all kind of comes full circle.
A lot of these states also have much more friendlier laws for manufacturers regarding unionization efforts. They make it much more harder to unionize than if you're in northern states or western states.
Right, but they also have grants for companies to come and build there. They have all kinds of economic incentives because these states recognize that having their state benefit from industry, particularly from high-tech industry, brings in jobs, brings in good-paying jobs, and they want that for their electorate.
Okay, the next one. However, Zillow economists do expect home price declines to occur between March 2023 and 2024 in markets like San Francisco, minus 2.6%. That's very specific. Boulder, Colorado, minus 1.6, Denver, minus 1.3, Reno, Nevada, minus 1.3, and Las Vegas, minus 1%. Oh, so they're expecting home prices to go down 1%.
And that's possible.
Should you sell your house? Let me talk about. So if you knew for sure your house was going to be worth 1% less a year from now, doesn't it make sense to sell it now? Because let's say your house is worth $400,000. You should sell it for $400,000 and then buy the same house back next year for $396, right? Because you've saved that $4,000.
Oh, absolutely. You should absolutely do that. And you should get us to sell it for you.
And then get us to represent you when you buy it back.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hands down.
Half of the reason people make these videos is because they want a transaction out of you. I think you should sell your house. Oh, by the way, you should call me. Anyone who tells you you should sell your house and call me to list.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, look,
All right.
I mean, obviously
why does the math not work for, why does the math not work? Like how much do you have to know housing's going to fall before you start liquidating real estate?
So that's the better question, right?
Okay.
Look, you know that your cost out of the property is about 8%.
I'm going to put the chart up so they can watch while you're talking.
So we know that that your cost to sell your property is about 8% between realtor fees, closing costs, real property transfer tax, HOA, transfer fees, HOA, resale packages, and all that good stuff, right? Okay. So we know it's about 8%. So, you know, that's the first number to keep in mind. Then we know that when you go to buy the property, your costs are not necessarily a whole lot different. Your costs to buy a property are closer to about 5%. So again, between your loan origination fees, maybe buying down some points, your appraisal, your inspections, you know, you name it, and there you go. So now to kind of use easy numbers, maybe 8% out, let's say 4% back in. We're being really just cutthroat here, and that's all it's going to cost you. So now that's 12%. Okay, I think it's going to cost you a little more than that, but let's say 12%.
What if it's a rental?
Hang on.
Oh.
We're talking about a primary residence.
Okay.
Okay. So that's about 12%. So there's that. Now, in the meantime, you've had to live somewhere. So now you had to pay rent. So maybe you paid over the course of a year. What is it? Median rent in Las Vegas is about $2,300 a month. So let's say that you were paying, I like easy math. So let's say you're paying $2,500 a month over the course of a year. That's $30,000. And let's say moving costs, because you have to move from your house to the rental house, and then from the rental house back to your house. So there's a cost in that. So let's say that you did it on the cheap and you got, a couple guys and a couple trucks and you did it. So maybe it cost you maybe $5,000. So $30,000 in rent, $5,000 in moving, and that's really being definitely on the cheap. And then you paid 12% in and out. I mean, depending on the price of your home, you're $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 into this?
So if it's a $400,000 house, the thing has to go down like 20%. Okay, here's the thing:
you can't buy. No, it has to go down 30% before you're at break even.
Okay, you're not going to get that exact same house back.
No.
Okay, here's the other thing: it's about your interest rate.
Right. So you gave up your 3% interest rate for, let's say, a year from now. Interest rates are better than they are today. Let's say that you got a 5. Not bad. Okay, you gave up 3 for 5. Okay. But did that house go down more than $80,000 in value? And what is your convenience worth? And you also gave up the house that you love for maybe a house that you don't love as much, and you had to uproot your family and do all that nonsense. Was it really worth it? That's the point that we're making. You're looking at 30% drop in value before you're kind of at break even. And anything more than that, fine, you're going to make some money, but at what cost? Okay.
Here's the national chart. You've been kind of staring at this. By now, you've probably ignored us completely and just been focusing on this chart. If it's a pinker type of red, it's minus 5%. And then if it's, and all they're estimating is plus or minus 5. They're not projecting anything more than that. Okay, that's their estimate. If it's a bright blue, then it's a very light colored blue. That's 5%. And if it's a darker blue, it's closer to zero, actually. It's kind of a goofy the way, I don't know who made up this chart. And then if you look at Clark County, which is where Vegas is, so it's that little, in the southwest, it's that little one funky shaped kind of dark red area. That's minus 1%. So of course this is all made up, right? Nobody knows what home prices are going to do. We don't know what home prices are going to do. All we can do is look at like big factors. We have very low inventory. We have very stable jobs. We have a growing economy, substantially growing. We have the largest growing economy in 2022. Las Vegas outgrew the whole rest of the country. You could make an argument that even if the country was in a pretty serious recession at some point in the next year, because we're so far ahead of everybody, we would still be above water growing and not having any problems. Potentially.
Well, potentially, yeah. I mean, there are so many projects in the works here in Las Vegas, and there's so much growth here as far as, not just the new baseball team that's coming to town, but there are just so many other businesses that are coming to Vegas that are growing in Vegas, that Vegas is actually in a really good place. We're not always in a good place, but this time around we're actually in a good place. And regardless of what the economy does, I think this time around Vegas is going to do really well.
Yeah. Obviously, if you look at this chart, the South is growing like crazy. It's doing very well economically. Southern states are not having the problem that some of the Western states have done. Western states, of course, especially California, has had a lot of people leave the Bay Area, which is the main reason. Even though, it's a big economy. Now, some of those people have left and gone to Texas. Some have gone to Florida. Some have gone to San Diego. Some have come to Vegas. Some went to Boise. But a lot of people left the Bay Area. As a matter of fact, we went to a meetup yesterday.
Yes, we did.
And it was an all-in podcast meetup. And we actually met a number of people who left the Bay Area to come to Vegas. Like 3 of them left the Bay Area, didn't they?
There was one from New York, a couple from the Bay Area.
Yeah, one from New York. There were a couple from the Bay Area. They just said, we just came to Vegas because we just, whatever, jobs or
Some from SoCal?
Yeah, SoCal. So it's like a lot of people who come to Vegas, that they come from somewhere else. And but you can see that there's balancing and changing happening based on, just some states have friendlier, make it easier for people. Like this is not a political statement, because I know as soon as I say Florida and Texas, everyone's like, oh my God, right? But look, Florida, the mayor of Miami has literally personally reached out to CEOs of tech companies and said, come here, we will support you. Like we'll make it easy for you. It's low tax. The weather's nice. We'll make it easy for you. Texas has pretty much done the same. Nevada has to some extent done the same. We've been very friendly to companies. They built a gigafactory here because of the tax incentives that they gave Tesla. So, but the bottom line is this demographic, this change you see, it's not going to happen exactly like this. This would be like picking all the teams in the Final Four. If you picked every market, whether it goes up or down and by how much, right? It's not going to happen. But I thought this was interesting because effectively this looks like what it looked like last year. All right, Vegas went down a little bit. The South, Florida, Florida had the biggest gains. Some of the markets in Florida are still up 10% year over year. Miami is, right? So this was the last slide, actually, of all the ones. I thought it was very interesting. What's your take on this whole, not estimating, but the analysis you gave of the percent, how much something has, timing the market? Because if you knew for sure Tesla stock every day was going to do a certain thing, you could literally for $0 click a button, sell the Tesla stock, and then the next day buy Tesla stock back. And then 3 days later, you could sell it. And then 4 days later, you could buy it back. You could play this game. You can't day trade houses.
No.
And if you're in a house you love, or if the house you absolutely like, oh my gosh, like I can't imagine, like this is the best house I've ever seen, ever. And you're like, oh, interest rates are 6%. Like, who cares? I'm buying it. Why would you wait? Oh, home prices are going to drop 1%. And you wait a year, and then now you can't find any houses you like. And you maybe would have paid 1% more for the house you loved, and then What if they're wrong? What if home prices go up 5% next year?
Right.
Like anything can happen.
Right. We're not saying you should buy a house. So
oh my God. No, there'll be 5 comments.
So
You're being irresponsible saying people should buy a house right now.
No, we're saying you should sell your houses and you should
sell
use us.
all of your houses. I don't care how many you have. Sell them all.
Absolutely. List them all with us. It'll be great.
Yes, and we'll charge you double. For sure.
All right, so this was kind of a fun video. I think we had more fun maybe than
no, wait, I gotta say this.
Oh, what?
It's episode 990.
Okay, episode 990.
I forgot to say that.
I think we had more fun making the video maybe than you had watching that.
What does that mean, episode 990?
I don't know. It's not like 420.
No. It's 10 numbers away.
Yes, it's 10 numbers away from 1,000.
1,000 videos.
Yes, we're marching towards our 1,000th video. Clearly, we're getting goofier as we get to.
We should give a prize to like the first person to watch all one, like to prove they watched all 1,000. They should make a video of themselves watching all 1,000 videos, and we'll give them a prize.
All right. Honest, we have not had anything to drink, and we are not stoned. Yeah. All right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being patient with us. We're just having fun, and hope that you're having fun with us. Please like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll get notified when more fun videos drop in. Please leave us a note and tell us to knock it off and not have so much fun. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.